Hi, I'm Darcel Lobo and I own Dow Law Firm, and today we're going to talk about some of our top tips if you're considering filing for bankruptcy. So let's start with the documents. So we'll have an initial consultation, which is free for bankruptcy, to talk about what the options are and to assess if bankruptcy is right for you. If we decide that that is the best option, and if you decide that you do want to move forward, we're going to provide you with a bankruptcy packet of information that we need and a checklist of those documents. So you'll go through the packet, review the information, fill it out fully, and provide that to us along with the requested documents such as bank statements and tax returns, things like that. We can send you this packet in paper form. We can give it to you in person, send it to you in the mail, or if you want to do it online, we have a fillable PDF that you can fill out as well. Whatever is easier for you to get that information together and get it over to us. When it comes to documents, if you're going to make us copies of documents, that's perfectly fine. We don't need originals, but please ensure that you are copying the front and the back side of documents, because sometimes there'll be important information on both sides, especially when it comes to like bills or letters and creditor notices. We need the front and back side. If you give us the originals, we will scan them into our system and you can have all of your originals back. We don't keep them, so you don't have to worry about making copies for us. If it's too inconvenient for you to do so, we're happy to get them scanned in and give everything back to you if you would like it back. So that's our first tip, is gathering your documents and completing that packet for us so we can in turn then work on your file for you. Next tip, if you have a home and you want to keep that home, and if you are current on your mortgage payments, then you want to ensure that you continue making those mortgage payments. So if you're filing Chapter 7 and you own a home and you're keeping that home, you're going to keep making those payments even before the bankruptcy, during, and then you'll continue afterwards. We don't want to get behind. If you get behind, then your home can be at risk in Chapter 7 and we have to look at a Chapter 13 instead. If you are already behind on your mortgage, then we would have already had this conversation about what to do when it comes to your bankruptcy filing, and you're probably filing a Chapter 13 if you're behind on your mortgage and you want to keep your home. So we've likely already had that conversation, but if you're Chapter 7 and if you're making your mortgage payments and you want to keep your home, continue making those mortgage payments. Do not stop without talking to our office first. Third tip is, if you have a vehicle and you want to keep that vehicle, same thing with the mortgage, you're going to want to keep making those vehicle payments. If you default on your payment, that car lender has the right to repossess your vehicle without giving you notice. This is true with or without bankruptcy, but sometimes you may read something online about what you can or cannot do before filing for bankruptcy. So we are here to tell you, as a bankruptcy attorney, if you want to keep your car, you should keep making those car payments if you're filing Chapter 7. If you're filing Chapter 13, that car payment is maybe coming into your plan. There may be some other options there, or if you're not keeping your car, then you would probably not be making those payments. So make sure you talk to your attorney. If you're planning to speak with us, and if you live in Washington, because that's where I'm licensed to practice, then you'll want to keep making payments on that car if you want to keep the car. Next tip, file your tax returns, please. So for Chapter 7 and Chapter 13, we need all of your tax returns filed. Now there could be some cases where, given some time restrictions, we don't have the time for you to get all the tax returns filed, but that's not ideal. We do not want to file cases on a rush. We don't want to file cases when taxes have not been filed, especially if you own a business. In order for me to do a proper analysis of what options are available to you and what chapter of bankruptcy is right for you, one key component of that is knowing if you owe taxes and what kind of tax debt you have. So ensuring that all of your personal returns are filed up through the most recent year, and if you have a business, ensuring that all the business returns have been prepared and filed, along with your state returns for your quarterlies and 940, 941s, things like that, but ensuring to the best of your ability that all of your taxes have been filed. Even if you haven't paid them, if you owe to the IRS, just for us to know what you owe is very helpful to us. So getting those taxes done would be a priority in preparing for your bankruptcy filing. Next tip is Please provide full disclosure of your assets and your debts. Please don't listen to advice online about trying to hide an asset or hide a debt. If you're trying to hide things, I can't help you, and the repercussions are so steep. It's not worth it to be dishonest. You are asking the court to grant you a discharge of debt, and that is a big ask. And in return, in exchange for that discharge of your debt, you need to be honest with my office, with the court, with the trustee about what assets you have and what your debts are. If you're concerned about a certain asset or the value of that asset, then tell me, and we can have that conversation and we can discuss what your options are and we can plan for it. That's a much better approach than trying to hide something and then it comes out during the bankruptcy and then we're having to react to it. And generally speaking, we don't really have a lot of options when that happens. Unfortunately, in those cases, they don't go very well for the individual filing bankruptcy. So if you're concerned about something, don't hide it. Talk to your attorney about it. That's why you have an attorney. That's why you're calling our office, because to have that guidance and that assistance and representation in this process. So let me help you, but you have to be honest with me in order for me to be able to help you. So please, do not try to hide assets. Do not try to hide debts. Let me know. Let's talk about it. Let's discuss what the options are, and then we'll proceed accordingly. All right, one of my last top tips is if you owe a bank money and you bank with that bank, you should change banks before you file bankruptcy. So let me give you an example. Let's say you bank with Bank of America for checking or for savings, but you also have a Bank of America credit card. If you're going to file bankruptcy, I advise that you move your checking and savings account to a different bank that you do not owe money to. You do not want to file bankruptcy owing a bank money that you also bank with. Unfortunately, many times I've seen the accounts be closed, the accounts be frozen, and for my client who's maybe has a direct deposit from work or automatic bill pay for things, it is very disruptive to have that account suddenly be frozen or to have it closed. Some banks will give us notice that they're going to close the account because they're taking a loss in the bankruptcy, and they'll give us 2 weeks or 30 days notice, but some banks don't, and they just freeze the account. We don't want that to happen to you. And trust me, it is much easier just to change banks beforehand than having to rush to do it during the bankruptcy because the bank closed your account or they froze your account. And so I know it can be, pretty inconvenient to have to change banks and change your direct deposit and change any automatic payments. But it's better to do it on your own time frame before we file bankruptcy than to get into the bankruptcy and have those things happen to you. So those are some of my top tips if you're thinking about filing for bankruptcy. If you have any questions about bankruptcy, if you're considering bankruptcy, and if you're in Washington State, that's where I'm licensed, give us a call, 206-408-8158, or visit us online at dallawfirm.com, DALLAWFIRM.com, and we'd be happy to help. Have a good day.